The July 8th episode of AEW Dynamite Beach Break popped off and gave us some stuff and went a direction I was hoping it wouldn't, but here we are. Run it. We started the night off with a very calm interview, actually. Renee was in the back with Omega, and they just had a quick little chat. And the second that his little promo was over, I feel like we all figured out how the night was going to end. So from there, we jumped straight into our first match, which was Ciampa and Jericho. It was really good. Both guys didn't have the word quit in them, and they just went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. We did see Ciampa with the win on that one after he grabbed a bucket of sand, poured some of it out, and then tried to hit Jericho. Jericho hit him with a code breaker. More sand flew into Jericho's face. There was just a little bit more of back and forth, and then Ciampa distracted the referee, grabbed another handful of sand. It was beach break, so there was sand everywhere, and he threw it straight into Jericho's face, hit him with a finisher, rolled him up, 1, 2, 3, all done. Ciampa comes out the victor. I'm not mad at that. I kind of assumed that we all figured that's what was going to happen, so moving on from there. Up next, we rolled into a promo. The Brawling Birds are back together. All the injuries are off the table. We are good to go. It was just another bar fight kind of promo package thing. They did make a custom sign for them, though, so that's fun, I guess. And then we went outside to a pre-recorded interview with Will Ospreay, like out in the parking lot area. MJF swooped in, started talking some trash. They got into a brawl. Security had to come in and yank him apart. It is what it is, and it was very interesting. Then we got to see Fletcher take on Takeshita for the international title. This one, for me, gets match of the night. Both men know each other so well. They were friends for so long. Now they're enemies, and the Don Callis family thing comes into play. Neither one of them wanted the loss, so they just kept going and kept going and kept going. We got to see Fletcher pull out the turnbuckle brainbuster again. We haven't seen that for a while. That's what ended up getting him the 1, 2, 3. That was moments after Don Callis popped off the commentary desk and came over and started yelling at Takeshita and just interrupted his whole flow. So now the Don Callis family has more gold in their clutches, which, fine, give gold to the heels. I love it. It's a lot of fun that way. Now I'm wondering if we're going to get a part 2 or how Fletcher is going to move on from here and who he's going to start challenging. Ricochet seems like he wants another title, so he might come after Fletcher at some point, even though Ricochet and the Don Callis family are kind of buddy-buddy to a certain extent. I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. After the match, Mick Foley came down to the ring. He tried to do a little bit of an interview with Fletcher. It didn't really go how I think he was hoping or how everybody else figured it would go. Kevin Knight eventually came out and grabbed the mic and started popping off. And as he was popping off, Andrade strutted down the entry ramp. Everybody in the Don Callis family was like, oh, can't believe he's here. Let's get him. So Davis and Doyle went after him. Knight went after him. They all disappeared to the back. We didn't get to see them for a minute, but when we got a camera feed, they were in this strange little backstage area. Darby Allin ended up coming out of the shadows with his skateboard and his backpack. He dropped the backpack, he dropped the skateboard, and it just turned into a weird brawl. The Don Callis family ended up getting the upper hand on Darby, obviously. Right as Doyle reached to grab the backpack, Kevin Knight was like, no, don't touch that. I know something's wrong with it. And this happened. So he grabbed the skateboard. And then if you look, there's a little blast pack on the bottom of that board. And I don't know how anybody didn't see it, especially if they were in the room. And then suddenly the skateboard blew up and it looked like powdered sugar went everywhere, which was very funny. And when the dust settled a little bit, they turned around and Davis saw Andrade on the other side of the room and they were like, it was you. And the camera panned to Andrade and he's literally holding like a controller with a button. And he just goes, how you know? And then the fight just continued and the cameras cut and we moved on to the next segment. The next match of the night, we got to see Moxley and Ospreay take on the Workhorsemen. And it's been a hot minute since we got to see both of the workhorsemen working together. We've had little bits of differences. We've had some singles matches with them, but this is the first time in I think about 6 months that we've seen the workhorsemen together as a unit. And it was a very good match. Both teams had the strength. Both teams had the speed. Everybody seemed to have stamina to spare. We did end up seeing Ospreay and Mox get the victory in the end of everything after they pulled off some more tag team moves. But it was a good match. And like I said, I'm happy to see the Workhorsemen back on air. It's good stuff. Then we rolled immediately straight into the women's Casino Gauntlet match. And those are always fun. It's very interesting to see people, whether it's the men or the women, come in at random intervals, and the winner of the match is the first one to catch a pinfall. So, lots happened. Took the notes. Let's get into it. So first and foremost, Tekla was introduced. She came down. She moved all the way over to the commentary table. She threw on a headset, and she was there the entire match. It was very funny. Monet decided to take up a purchase on a lifeguard stand at the top of the entry ramp, which was a strange idea because she was so far away from the action and you could barely see her because I don't really think they spotlit her that well. But once we got things rolling, Athena and Maya World came out and they got probably 4 minutes of action, just the two of them, before we really had the timer going and more women joined the fray. So from there, third person in was Sky Blue. She came down with a kendo stick. That just tracks. There was a no disqualification thing, so weapons were completely allowed. I don't understand why more people don't bring a weapon in when it's completely allowed. So she made her way down. She had a little bit of headway as far as beating people up with the kendo stick. Right after her, probably 2 minutes later, we got Mina Shirakawa. She came down, had a grand old time just doing her Mina Shirakawa thing. And she was followed by Rina. And Mina tried to befriend Rina in some capacity, it seemed like, because they both came from Stardom. They're both Japanese female wrestlers. There's got to be a little bit of camaraderie and kinship there. But it didn't last for a long time. Tekla had nothing but nice things to say about Rina in the match because they used to be stablemates over in Stardom, apparently. But we move on. After Rina, we got Julia Hart. She also came out with a weapon. Just the two of them came out with weapons, and it was interesting. We got the kendo stick with Sky, and Julia decided to bring the lid from a trash can. Not the most effective weapon, but at least it's lightweight and can be thrown, I guess. I don't know. So the two of them teamed up a little bit. Everybody in the match was kind of taken out at that point, so Julia and Sky decided to just beat the crap out of random security people that were around the ring area, and also one that came running out from the back somewhere. I'm not sure where that dude popped up from, but Julia just decked one of the security guys to end that whole segment right before they went to commercial break. It was good stuff. It was very funny. I was a huge fan of that. After all that happened, then we had Thunder Rosa come in. Thunder Rosa was cleaning house and doing what she could. It was kind of just little pairs of two, everybody brawling. The Sisters of Sin did try to get a little bit of tag team action in to take out some of the bigger names in the match. And that's when we got the return of Willow Nightingale. And I wasn't expecting it tonight. I knew she'd be back soon because of the promos that they ran the last couple of weeks, but I figured she would at least wait until the pay-per-view to make an appearance. But here she was in the Casino Gauntlet match, and she won. She won. She is going to go after Tekla for the title now, so that's going to be a whole thing. And after the match, we had a bit of a breakdown for stuff. Turns out that somehow Mercedes Moné is working with Megacross. I don't understand why or how, but they came out and they took out the Sisters of Sin. And while that was going on outside the ring on the entry ramp, Tekla slid into the ring and hit Willow Nightingale with the belt, I believe. And then Monet came into the ring and she took out Tekla. And right as soon as she took out Tekla, Willow Nightingale stood back up and went to be like, what the hell is going on? And Mercedes Moné hit her again and took her out. So we had Megacross and Monet standing tall at the end of it all. It was a very interesting ending to the match. Now we're just going to get Willow Nightingale versus Monet at some point again, I'm sure. But I'm curious if Monet is going to get involved with the Tekla match for the title against Willow. After that match ended, we got a really nice promo from Jack Perry. And he has decided to re-sign with AEW. So new contract for him. Hopefully that gets to push him a little harder. It would be nice to see him in some kind of capacity, whether it's with Luchasaurus going after the tag titles, which, by the way, during the promo, Luchasaurus actually spoke. Like, he was in costume, but he spoke real words, and that threw me off for a second because I don't know why I didn't expect him to not be able to talk, but just be willing to, I guess. So that was a whole thing. It was very nice, and we're glad that Jack is still around. Then we smash cut to the back, and Renee was interviewing Mike Bailey, and Mike Bailey had some words that I'm sure he wanted to say to Kevin Knight that he didn't. Instead, he called out Mark Davis for the national title. So that match will probably be happening in the next couple of weeks, and it's just more build-up to the pay-per-view. So that'll be fun if those two go at it. And then we came to the main event of the night. And I think everybody knew that Omega versus MJF was going to be a barn burner, but I don't think everybody figured it would go down how it did. If you ask me, I would have loved to see MJF retain the title. However, after a handful of shenanigans and a lot of silliness, Omega did end up with the win. After the bell rang, the title had already been handed over, and just beforehand, MJF had handed over his Dynamite Diamond ring, and that got put off to the side. Both men were just beating the crap out of each other, and it was very interesting. MJF at one point got pushed from the ring apron to the commentator desk, and he went through it like it was made of tissue paper, which was very strange to see. And then he pulled another Dynamite Diamond ring out as the referee was distracted. He got set up to throw a punch at Omega when Will Ospreay decided to pop up, and he ripped the ring off of MJF's hand. And while he was arguing with the ref at the ropes at the entry ramp, Omega got the title that MJF had tried to bring in a moment earlier in order to hit Omega with it. Omega swung for MJF and then stopped when he started to beg. It was a whole 30-second internal war that Omega was having with himself as far as whether to use the title or to not use the title. He ended up not using it, got hit with a low blow from MJF, and then the title got slipped out of the ring. MJF tried to take advantage. Will Ospreay was still on the entry ramp, but Omega hit his Super Saiyan power levels, I guess, because he popped up and didn't allow the 1-2-3 to come through. And then it was just all Omega for the next 90 seconds until he got the 1-2-3. So congratulations to Omega for being a two-time champ now, I believe, and for not losing his ability to go after the title in the future. But now I'm wondering if we're gearing up to have Omega versus Ospreay at the pay-per-view, and how is MJF going to slither his way back into this to retain his title, or to regain his title, I should say. So whatever happens, MJF will be a 4-time champion, probably by next summer. And that's exciting. Because if he is just stacking bills, getting championship after championship after championship, I would even go as far as to say, let's just give him some secondary title just to prove that he can go and collect other belts. And then just because it's his character, let's just have him drop it like a week later. Like, I don't care about this boot, like trash can it, right? So that was Beach Break. I will see you guys on Saturday for Beach Break Part 2 for Collision. But congratulations one more time to Kenny Omega for taking the title off of MJF, and I can't wait to see how he slithers his way back into the title picture and regains the Triple B. Until then, have fun. Stay safe. I'll see you Saturday. Peace.